A very good evening and warm welcome to our next lecture about your mind and yoga. Well, we had some situation over here. I hope you understood by the dismantling of this camera how this vibrated what happened. Everyone who is very much accustomed with our channel will know what exactly happened. She has come. And what? She's a very lucky charm. So whenever she is there in the video and whenever she disturbs it, that video becomes very highlighted. So let's go deep into our session. For people who are new, please do subscribe the channel. We are going into elaborations and many new things are going on happening. Our new website has been launched. And I hope by now you people are all already ready with the Shivratri celebration. Shiva, the Lord of Yoga. The Lord who showed us the path, how, which way, where to do what, and the various other things. How much do we know Shiva? Practically, we don't know him. Because we are that illusioned class of the Kali Yuga who can celebrate Shivratri to get the ecstasy of him, obviously. But to dive and be a shove to attain him is very hard in principles. People who are trying to walk the path to Shiv learns without any difficulty. That difficulty itself is a word with lordship. If you are a male person who is devoted to Shiv, you are bound to have more struggles in your life than a female. I will tell you with example. You know the biggest disciple of Shiva? No, who he is? Narayan. Yes, Sri Ram. In each and every incarnation of him, he has taken Diksha, all the avatars till now, the 9 avatars of Narayan, Vishnu, is being initiated by Shiva in some or the other phase of their life. See Krishna, initiated by Sri Mahadev. He was one of that devoted soul for Mahadev. And again, when he was a kid, Mahadev comes to see him. There's a relation between these two people. Are they two? I am not sure of because I know them as one and two both sides. Again, in side to side with a male as a female. Sati, the devoted soul for Mahadev, the walks the path and in his love gives her life. So if you are a female, be ready to give your life for Shiva. If you are a male, learn to adapt, to give up everything in your life Because when Shiva comes, he leaves nothing else to be present in your life. When he came to Krishna, Krishna had to give up each and everything. He went in the forest. You know what? People do not discuss the way that Krishna suffered in his life. They show you the glory of him. They show you various imaginary aspects of his life. They show you the illusions that he never was, but they never talk about the love he really had, about the yogic life that he led throughout his lifespan. At the last moment also, he gave his life for his Ishta, Mahadev. He was engrossed in his thinking about the Deva so much, he never saw anything coming around. That is what devotion actually is. Ram, you know the last of him, how Rama gave his life when he gets submerged in Saryu river. For whom? Because he was getting tired staying in this earth, not able to see his Ishta in front of him. He was failing because he was missing his embrace. He was missing the time that he used to sit by Shiva and speak with him. They're the best brothers. They're the best of friends. They're the best comrades that ever happened in this whole of universe. That's what they are. That is what their love is. If you want to love like Ram, love like Krishna, but to whom? Not to Sita, not to Rukmini, but the love for Mahadev, for his Ishta, for the Paramatma that is residing within them. When Vishnu first saw the enlightened pillar in front of him from where the mortal Shiva came out for the first time in his life, that was the love at first sight. The constellation was that of Krishna Chaturdashi, the time of Shivratri, the day of Shivratri. Mahashivratri is the day when Shiva came up as a light, illuminated light pillar in front of Brahma and Vishnu. No one talks about it. That was the reason when Himavat, Narayan tried to do the same thing while giving up Sati in marriage with Shiva. But the date was not to be fixed. He failed there. But he never failed in the second attempt. He made sure that Himavat marries Parvati on the very date of Krishna Chaturdashi, so that the couple can be ever joined together. There won't be any separation for the couples who get married in this particular date. That is what Vishnu said. I'm not saying. Your own mind was left over there in the Chitra and the Britis in the last lecture. Why I spoke about this? Because one thing Sivratra is tomorrow, and second, your Briti was handled by Vishnu. It is handled by him. How you look, how you perceive to your materialism and your knowledge of association and disassociation with the abundance, with the knowledge, with your mind. And when Vishnu gets steel, last time I left you over there, be the steel and the steel. So when Vishnu becomes still within your heart chakra, at that point of time, the light of the pillar comes in forefront. That's the consciousness starts to get illuminated. In the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali gives a stress with Yog Chitra Vritti Nirodha. Over here, Nirodha means to stop, make it to stop. So the joke is done to make your Chitra and Vritti stop. That is what I say always, that reach the zero. Reach the place where you are still as a steel. There is no vibration within your mind in whatsoever form it is. There is nothing in your life other than Shiva. Why Shiva? You turn yourself to be a shove, a corpse, a dead body. All your pran, the 5 pran vayus, the 5 pran vayus gets within your chakras to be very still. They become like a very still format, just as I said you while I was discussing about the nadis. The airflow, the flow of the pranas are controlled when your prittis and chitras are nirodha, stopped. It is a simple process. It's a constant process. The moment you get adopted into it, at that point of time, you will not have to do something with force. First 5-6 months, you will have to struggle. Anyone who is starting a raw, anyone who is trying to start a journey towards a Shiva, first will have to trudge. Maharaj Dashrath had to trudge for near about 10 years of his life to achieve a form of his mind where he can sit and take the lessons from his guru. Raja Janaka, in his life experience when he is talking with Ram and giving him lectures of how he should lead his life, when he is inside the Vanvas, there is an episode of Ram talking with his father-in-law, Raja Janak, where Ram is saying, "Please advise me, O father. I have lost my father, so now you are the only person I can turn to and advise me." Yes, He asks for advice. He is a Vishnu, but he asks for advice. That is the respect you are supposed to show to your elders. The funny thing, we talk about Sri Ram, but we do not set our foot just after him. That's we do not copy him in our life. We talk about Sri Ram, we give lectures to others, but we do not copy his lifestyle. We do not copy how he used to live. A prince who has first life in the Gurukul, he slept on the floor, came back, immediately was taken away by Rishi Vishwamitra, where he learned all the tricks and trips about Astra, Shastra, Shastra from Rishi. There again he slept on the floor. I ask you to sleep on the floor, you will say, Ma, I have too much of body pain. I cannot sleep on the floor, you see. You are habituated with the floppiness of your bed. Even without having any medical conditions, you will not want to sleep on the floor. You will not be wanting to get deprived of your lifestyle, of your social status. That happened with Ram. Just when the coronation was announced, he went to Vanvas for 14 years. Again, he was on the cross, a bed of cross. Well, I can say you one thing from my own life experience. It is very helpful. It is very helpful for your skins. It is very helpful for your body pains. If you know how to put the grass, you can put even Ayurvedic grass on that bed so that when you roll onto it, your body will automatically get those Ayurvedic oils. And the next morning when you take a bath, it is very, very refreshing. Just my own life experience. Again, when he was forced to face the enemy of his life, Ravan himself, the most pious Vakt of the chain Shiva. So Shiva had both his bhakts fighting between one another. He is a guru for both of them. He is a person who is waiting for one's death in the hand of the other. Can you understand the plight of that person, what is going inside his heart? Oh, he is a man of steel, so he should not have anything, right? Have you ever tried to understand what Shiva feels? Do you know he is the most romantic person in this universe? He's the most devoted husband in this universe. And he is the most ruthless person in the universe who can cut down his son's head with his own hand. Can you ever dare to do that? Everyone wants to become Shiv. To be Shiv is really, really very, very tough. And to stay with him throughout your life, throughout your lifespan, is walking on fire. Where one side there is a plinth, there is a fall for at least 10,000 kilometers down, and the other side you have the ocean, and in between there is a road full of fire. You work on that. That is what the Shiv devotees do. You don't become Avdut in a day. You cannot become a Naga Sadhu in a day. It takes a lifespan for that. You need to give up each and everything, whatever you have. Whatever you want to possess, it will be gone. Just with that. Ready for the Shiv Puja for tomorrow. He is very, very powerful and very, very easy. Is Bholenath. He's very easy to get whatever you want from him. He will give you what you want. But do you know why he gives it? So that you don't want him. You ask for money, he will give you money. You ask for treasure, he will give you treasure. You ask for vidya, he will give you vidya. You ask for anything, any material wealth, you will get it. The moment you ask for him, here is a problem. That will really take many things. So, when you are a yogi, now since I have been talking about yoga for so many days and I have taught you how to get through. So, let's say that what happens once you are through. See, guys, you are through because you have sustained everything, your mindful breathing, your pratyahara, your observances. It has helped you a lot. You are in the stage of dharana. You are focused. You now can understand your breathing. Now you can understand your nadis. Now you can understand how your mind is flowing. You can channelize your breath through your chakras. I have got you over there. If you follow all the podcast, if you follow all the lessons which we have come through, you can get what I am saying. You can get to that spot. You are very close to that zero where I am taking you. At this point of time, Vairagya comes. Vairagya becomes very easy. You feel detachment. This is happening with my oldest Shishyas. Two of them are already in the verge of living their own lifestyle, one in France, one in Australia. The other one, yes, I don't want to take their name, but I have told them categorically, you are not supposed to do this. What Mahadeva says over here. Vairagya comes. I have also faced it. I have seen it. Life had been a battle about renunciation and abundance for me. And at the end, means when I have done everything, when I have completed all my responsibilities, I have taken up to renunciation because that is the order. That is the order. Renunciation will come. Renunciation comes by itself. Renunciation is actually very natural to you. It will come, but not until you want it. You will have to control your vritti. You will have to control your chitta, that is your mind. You will have to control your buddhi so that you keep a balance between your material thinking and your internal thinking of your Lord. I am not asking you that don't love your God. Don't go towards spirituality. No, because spirituality, Mahadev, consider Mahadev as your idol. If he is your Ishta, just think, he is the biggest householder person on this universe. When Mata says, I need this for my house, he runs. He gets it. Mata needs this for the house. He gets it. The kids need this for them. He gets it. The girls needs to be wedded. He gets the girls to get wedded. All the 9 daughters were being married to different people at different time frames. Who came back and who not came back. That's a different issue altogether, because each and every kids have their own fate written. They have their own sadhana to go by. Sorry. Even Ganesha, he made Ganesha a householder. Whereas Kartikeya chose to stay unmarried. That's the order of my house. I can't do anything. Ah, say sorry. She's saying sorry also. Now this extreme non-attachment comes, and this is what you are supposed to be. You are supposed to be a non-attached person to anything whatsoever. As Krishna states in Gita, you are supposed to be the lotus within the very pond which is full of impurities, but the lotus is looking forward to the sun and never gets muddy. You are within the mud. That is the samsara. The sansar is full of mud. You get politics everywhere within your school. If you are a student, there is a school bullying. If you are in college, there is college bullying. If you are into workplace, there are very much work politics. Within the house, kitchen politics. So there is politics everywhere. Sri Krishna is believed to be the biggest politician in his own life as well. He is considered to be the greatest yogi of his time frame. How both are possible? That is the uniqueness of Shiv Yoga. That is the uniqueness, how you are going to be what you are. I am talking with you, but my one brain is working into something else. The other is thinking about what I am going to make for dinner. But obviously, I am giving my lecture to you. And again, one portion of my brain is considering the time frame where I will fix tomorrow's full day. Because tomorrow is a huge day of activity for us within the ashram. But please, bachche, don't call me tomorrow. Impossible to answer any phone calls. So when the Vairagya comes, it should come as a form of freedom from everything. That is how you are going to celebrate it. You need to celebrate your freedom. Your liberation has to be celebrated. When you pick up this cloth, it has to be the liberation. It has to be the greatest celebration of your life. That is how it is. That is how it should be. Your purpose for life is to be celebrated. So celebrate each and everything that you are doing. Celebrate your studentship. Celebrate when you are learning. Celebrate whatever life teaches you till date. Until all the prans are away, you learn to give up. You learn how to face death. Death is the biggest celebration in the life of a human body. A jiv, when it dies, it is the greatest celebration, because after that, only if also for few seconds also, the Paramatma embraces the soul. How long you are with him is up to your karma. You'll have to be accountable. The karma makes you accountable, makes your every action have a consequence of it. Your each and every breath is celebrated and accounted for. Whenever you are even dying, a person who wants to die a holy death need to do a lot and lot of good karma within his lifespan. Because only this human body allows you to get out of your karma, to get accounted for, to be ready. First, you will have to be ready to get accounted for. That is what your Chitta practice teaches you. When you learn how to get accounted for, when you learn that yes, it is only you who needs to be addressed for each and every karmas that you are doing, that you have done, and that you will have a consequence on your this lifespan itself. There is no narak, there is no swarg. You are accounted for within this life frame when you have that brain to understand what you have done. That is what I ask you for Swadhyaya. I always ask you to do Swadhyaya because first you learn to understand yourself. You learn to be accounted for your actions. Because a person who is a jnani, he will account his actions. He will know I am wrong over here and I need to correct myself. The person who are being initiated from this ashram, they have learned it. They are doing it in their life. They know they have led their life half. There are many senior persons over here. In their age, they are elder to me, but they are falling in place. They are doing what is right now. Whatever they have done, they have done. They cannot alter it, but what they can do be better. What is gone, you cannot undo it. But what you need to do, you can do better than you think of. So learn to understand the consequences. Learn to understand your own self. Learn to understand what is going to happen if you do this way. And learn to think before you talk. One word that you utter right now can have thousands of consequences in the future. It can ruin, it can make. So the nature, when it is divided into various categories of Sakhyas, a self of the man is beyond of this. I always do say, I am beyond. What do I mean by that? Do you know what it means being beyond? At that point of time, you are a karma mukta soul. At that point of time, you are doing a karam, like I am doing each and everything. I am giving these lectures, but I am asked to give the lectures. These lectures are coming from within. Whatever he wants to say, he is saying through me. I have got nothing to do in it. My I is nowhere. I know how to take care of my I, my ahankara. So I have gone beyond. I am being liberated. I am being in place. At that point of time that which the Vairagya comes, you can take this cloth. Because at that point of time, you will see, you will find that you are unable to get associated. You are unable to talk even. People will think you are an illusioned person. People, the normal society will say he is a good for nothing fella. There are people who takes me as a lucky charm. If they see me in the morning, There are certain people who thinks I'm the black cat of the society. जिसकी राही भावना जैसी प्रभु मूरत लिखी वैसी. But my point, as a point of sadhak, I should not be making my mind or allowing myself to think of a person who is taking me as a lucky charm, he is good for me, and the person who is taking me as a black cat of the society is a bad for me. No, both of them should be on the same platter for me. Because over here, I am not there. The Vairagya states that if you are actually within the Vairagya, nothing should matter to you. We always say, what are others going to think about us? This thinking of others will not matter to you. You will be hearing each and everything, you will be learning, and at times you will see more than they are showing you. You will hear more than what they are telling you. You will learn about their gross nature. You will learn about their core beliefs, their faiths. They are talking about you or the other persons they are talking about. But these things should not create an impact on you. And this comes through lots and lots of years of practice. Even at the last moment, even after the war of the Kurukshetra, Krishna had to talk a heart to heart with Kali to get out of his impious thinking, because at that moment the mother of Suryodhan, means Duryodhan, did curse him. After being cursed that he will lose his family, his full Yaduvansha, the same way that Mahabharata and Kauravas were ruined. He was in so much of grief, which he never showed to others, but went to speak with his other self, Durga. It is there in the Mahabharata. It is there in the Mahabharata. You read it. Uttar Mahabharata will tell you how Krishna had spoken with him. So, when this mind stops projecting, where both the forces are matter of one, it is called Ayukta. Where the creation, the cycle, the whole nature tries to become one. The Purush goes beyond his intelligence. He understands the essence of his intelligence. There's a great power. Knowledge is power, obviously. Knowledge is obvious the power. But over here, the knowledge is of different criteria. Here the knowledge is not about his outer person, but it is within himself. It is a knowledge of his own self that we are talking about. Now he understands what potentiality his soul carries, not his physical body or his mind frame. What he is, it becomes clear. So once you know who you are, you understand what you can do. Once you understand what you can do and how to keep yourself unattached, what happens? What follows? Great wealth, great intellectuality, abundance in each and everything. That is what we are looking forward to. That is what we started with. How to get abundance within spirituality. You know how it differs. If you are not without spirituality, how it differs. Let me categorize you because I have faced that. And I think I can say you with my own life experience. Your yogic life gives you the abundance. Now the Maya starts working. Now Maya closes your eye and she keeps on puppeting you. At that point of time, if you let loose, if somehow you get emotional, you just drop your defense system, which I did. What happens at that point of time? You get detached from your spiritual powers. The power which was given to me just in the blink of the eye, just like this, one spirited blessing by Babaji Maharaj. I lost it in 2010 and 11 phase. 11 and 12 phase, not in 10. And that ruined. At that point of time, Maya will dance. That is the Lashya we call. That the dance of Maya, when it starts, it is unstoppable. Until everything is ruined, she doesn't stop. She never stopped. But the savior over here was that again, I picked up my spiritual practices. Just within a very short time, I got engrossed by the end of 12th by November. Again, I got engrossed in the divine essence, which helped me get a escape route from all the situations, and here I stand today liberated in a different way, obviously. People can think so many things that how can this happen? How can this create? But that is what it is. When the external gross elements of the objects starts to get disassociated from you, this is called Savitrika. You have the essence of what is inside, but the Vairagya takes a close fit and it starts entering your life. Savitraka is an element where you know the truth, where you know the power, where you know the true potentiality of your mind games. You can understand your mind palace more than anything. In the intensifying words of possession, the occult powers comes very, very grossly vital, and at that point of time, you know how to handle those powers. Because you are responsible. Because you know that there is consequence to my own actions. I know what I am doing. I know how I am supposed to do. I can see what is going to happen if I turn the things today, 50 years coming. The result that will happen after the 100th year of this civilization can be checked by me sitting in this position when I am talking to you. That is the occult power. That is what you gain when you have the spiritual power with you. You do not slip up. I tell many times, you catch the finger of Shiva, there is a chance that it can slip from your hand. That slipped up. But once Shiva catch hold of you, he will never leave. 2012, we are talking 2025. He has never left me. So, at this point of time, nivritti means your mind is so still that none of the vrittis can touch your mind. They cannot touch you. They are there. It is not like they have gone away. They will never go away. They will be there, but you will not be impacted. Nirbritti comes up. So I think it is quite a stance that we have taken, and I will leave you over here because it is getting late and I have got many things to prepare for. So let's meet in the next research with Tanmatras. So we are proceeding, and I will expect the people who are actually going through all the videos. I am very thankful that whatever subscribers I have, they are actual learners. I do not care whether I have 1 million followers. I am not a person of like that spirit. If I have only one follower also and he is listening, I am thankful. I have done what I was supposed to do. So take the membership that we are talking about, because members only videos are coming up wherein this theory what I am talking to you will be said in a practical fashion. The tips and tricks that are allowed to be spoken about will be given to you. You will learn how to get into stance. You will learn how to get into yatan matras. So be our member and I will be looking forward to you from there. So with that, I end my lecture over here. See you next week.